Indian Casino on the Pachanga Indian Reservation in Temecula, California. Coming up very shortly, Vernon Forrest will enter the ring to take on Ricardo Mayorga in what could be a fascinating welterweight unification title bout. And we've told you that all year long we'll be celebrating our 30 years of boxing on HBO, in addition to the documentary series Legends of Boxing, which will be debuting in March in prime time. We'll give you the specifics on that in just a couple of minutes. Each one of our fight telecasts will carry a vignette which looks back at a story from the 30 years. Tonight's theme, upsets. So we thought we'd entertain you and bring back some great memories with the greatest upsets from 30 years of boxing on HBO. Here they are.
And the best laid plans have gone awry.
Gunning for a stoppage here. It would shock the world. Tremendous upset.
Could a light heavyweight ever move up and dethrone the heavyweight champ?
Spinks not only no longer has any fear of Holmes if he ever did, I think he thinks he can win this fight.
The winner and new IBF heavyweight champion of the world.
Could a superstar make yet another comeback?
People were thinking, you know, Ray Leonard's not going to win this fight, and, you know, we're just watching an execution.
I got 3 minutes! Yeah. Come on, baby! How do you like it? How do you like it?
And new heavyweight champion of the world, Sugar Ray Leonard.
The fight is over. A monumental upset.
Could the ultimate underdog make boxing history?
Started popping with them jabs. He got pivoted and came up with it. You know, a real good uppercut.
What an uppercut by Douglas, and down goes Tyson. Mike Tyson has been knocked out. Say it now, gentlemen. James Buster Douglas, undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. Michael bent on the verge of a big moment. Down goes Lewis.
Could a 45-year-old heavyweight turn back the clock? So you see no chance that George can win the fight?
Very little.
Michael Moore was falling into a trap.
Don't stay there because he's looking to set you up one shot.
I had this all playing out for the previous 3 months.
Down goes Moore on a right hand. It happened. It happened. Down he goes. Vince Phillips has finally won a world title.
Could there be another heavyweight upset in Africa?
Rockman chases Lewis across the ring.
And knocks him down with a thunderbolt to the right hand. Has Rockman pulled the upset? He has. We got a brand new heavyweight champion, and he's from the United States.
Could one man inexplicably have another man's number?
Vernon Forrest blocked Shane Mosley with a right hand lead over the top. And Mosley is in huge trouble.
I told y'all I was going to do it. I told y'all. Nobody didn't believe me, but I told y'all. Proves once again, there ain't a horse that can't be rode or a rider who can't be thrown. Everybody is beatable.
Stories like that will be featured on our 12-part documentary series, Legendary Nights. The 12 best stories from 30 years of boxing on HBO. It premieres Wednesday evening, March 5 in prime time, and every Wednesday thereafter for 12 consecutive weeks. We'll have a new edition of the documentary series. We reminded you at the beginning of the evening to log on to hbo.com/boxing during the fights and vote for your favorite upset ever on HBO. There's the suggested list from which to vote. I have a hunch which one is going to wind up on top at the end of the evening, but we'll give you the results of your own balloting on this subject after Vernon Forrest fights Ricardo Mayorga. So now let's get ready, I should say, for the welterweight championship fight. George Foreman, Ricardo Mayorga is a slugger. He's the kind of hitter who goes into the box and tries to hit a home run on every pitch. No one would argue that his boxing skills are anywhere near in the same league with those of Vernon Forrest. But What if Mayorga can take a punch as well as he throws one?
Not only take a punch, but able to bob, weave, keep his head out of the way after he's thrown those vicious punches. I think if he get that dynamic head movement going, he can pull it off tonight, no doubt about it.
This guy's explosive. If it happens, it'll probably happen in a heartbeat if he catches Vernon on the end of one of those big punches. And Larry Merchant, you know, Vernon Forrest comes off a year in which he beat Shane Mosley twice, was the fighter of the year, established himself as the #1 welterweight in the world. Most fighters in that situation look for a relatively easy opponent and a chance to make a little money and cruise with the title before they go back into the real wars. Why in the world did Vernon Forrest choose in this first post-Mosley fight a tough customer like Mayorga?
Call it a calculated risk. In fact, Forrest sought and fought for one of those usual suspects in his next fight. But he settled for, because he wanted a long-term contract, which he got, an unusual suspect in this fight. And that would be Ricardo Mayorga, a wild child from Nicaragua who smokes 2 packs a day when he's not training and who claims to have knocked out a horse with 1 punch. Give him this much, though. He claims the horse kicked him first. I'm sure that Vernon Forrest believes it was a rocking horse with a glass jaw.
Yeah, and Mayorga's fans may be startled to learn that their man has some counter-punching skills. So let's take a look at the tail of the tape in this welterweight championship fight. And you'll see that Vernon Forrest waited a long time to come to the spotlight after a shocking first-round loss at the Barcelona Olympics in 1992. He labored in darkness for a long time before finally getting his moment in the sun against Mosley. He's 31, Mayorga's 29. 2-inch height advantage for Forrest, 4-inch reach advantage for the better boxer of the two. They weighed in under the welterweight limit, and Mayorga, in the time since that weigh-in about 27 hours ago, maybe actually 28, has put on 15 pounds unofficially to weigh 161 on our HBO scale. Forrest 155. Rules of the bout with our unofficial ringside scorer, Harold Letterman.
The Vernon Forrest Ricardo Mayorga fight is scheduled for 12 rounds using the unified rules of the Association of Boxing Commissions. There is no 3 knockdown rule. The doctor or the referee can stop the fight. In case the cut is caused by an accidental headbutt, we go to the scorecards after 4 rounds have been completed, and you cannot be saved by the bell in any round, including the 12th and final round. Jim.
And here comes Ricardo Mayorga. In his first appearance on an HBO pay-per-view, he clashed heads with Andrew Sixheads Lewis in the second round of his first welterweight title shot, and then had to wait for another date with Lewis, where he caught Lewis on the end of some of those big punches and knocked him out in 5 rounds. That was his introduction to the big time.
He reminds me a little of 2 of the great warriors of recent times in the sense of his machismo, his unrelenting hatred for his opponent, complete disdain for his opponent. Carlos Monzon and Roberto Duran were exactly that way.
Flag of Nicaragua, flag of Costa Rica. Mayorga left Nicaragua to fight in Costa Rica and now lives back in his native homeland. Vernon Forrest. Well, like so many other championship-style fighters, Vernon's into the rap business.
I guess if you can rap in the ring, you earn the right to rap outside of the ring.
All right, folks, that was the intro. Let's go to ring announcer Michael Buffer for a different kind of official introduction.
Ladies and gentlemen, from Pechanga Resort and Casino here in Temecula, California, DeBella Entertainment is proud to present 12 rounds of boxing. This is for the WBA, WBC Welterweight Championship of the World. Brought to you in association with Don King Productions, Pechanga Resort and Casino, the undisputed king of beers, Budweiser, and HBO Sports. Sanctioned by the California State Athletic Commission, Chairman Van Gordon Souter, Vice Chairman Sanford Michaelman. The 3 judges at ringside scoring this contest on the 10-point must system will be Raul Caiz Sr., John Keane, and John Shorley. And when the bell rings, your referee in charge of the action, working for the 160th time in a world title bout, Marty Denkin. And now, for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble! Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing black trimmed with silver and officially weighing 146 pounds. His professional record, 23 victories, including 21 knockouts against 3 defeats, 1 draw, and 1 no contest. From Managua, Nicaragua, presenting the WBA Welterweight Champion of the World, Ricardo El Matador Mayorga. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing black with red, his official weight, 146.5 pounds. His professional record stands at 35 victories, including 26 knockouts with 1 no contest, while capturing 2 world titles, and he is rated pound for pound among the very best in the world today. From Augusta, Georgia, the WBC titleist, universally recognized as the true welterweight champion of the world, Vernon, the Viper Forrest.
Here's a low blow. Right here.
Look at his.
Right here. Okay? Now, you know your responsibility. Tell him I told him his responsibility. And I know my responsibility. Let's all do our job.
The question in this fight is whether Mayorga can take a punch well enough to last long enough to try to deliver his own big punches.
This referee has got a job on his hand, and lately, Marty's been overworking himself.
Marty Denkin?
How so?
He misses a lot. The fighters are hitting below the belt. If they're on the right side of him, he doesn't move around and get to see what's going on.
He has been the object of a couple of complaints in the last year or two. Marty Denkin, though, as you heard,
he's got integrity, though.
Deep background, 150 championship fights. Vernon Forrest was involved in 2 fights with Shane Mosley, both of which involved a fair amount of clinching, holding, and there were disputes on both sides as to which fighter it was who was responsible for all that. We'll see if that kind of thing takes place here, where some think that Forrest might do well to hold on to Mayorga a little bit and try to blunt his power.
One thing, when you have the reach advantage, you got to make certain that you take advantage of it. Forrest got the longer arms. Keep this guy on the outside. Let the crowds push you into a fight that you don't have to get into.
All the punches that have landed so far have been to the body.
Mayorga has got to make certain if he's not close, get far away so he doesn't even be affected by the long jabs. Get close or far away as you can.
Trainer Ronnie Shields wants Vernon Forrest either to be dominating with the jab from the outside or to be up inside where Mayorga can't get extension on those bombs.
If you're the shorter fighter, you want to keep moving back so the taller fighter can try to be the aggressor. That way you can collide and you get to take away his reach advantage.
It's not natural for Mayorga to move back.
But that's what you want to do. You want to draw your bigger opponents to move forward a little bit.
Mayorga forced to fight a boxing match for the first minute and a half of the fight. Manages to touch Vernon Forrest with one of those right hands.
Well, what he did, which we didn't see Campbell do in the first fight, was he missed one punch and came back with the other one.
Forrest lands a jab and is short with a right hand over the top.
Let him go.
There could be some head banging here. Both guys tend to lunge forward when they throw.
Vernon Forrest is well polished. Good left jab, and he looks to throw that right hand whenever he can. And he can turn it over. He can put it right, thread a needle with it.
Forrest is a heavy favorite in the fight. Odds perhaps skewed by the fact that so few have seen Mayorga. Larry, didn't you tell me there were betting odds of 10 to 1 at one place?
Well, I heard that they went down to about 6 to 1 man-to-man this afternoon.
That's logical. More logical than 10.
That was a good left hook by Mayorga.
Yep, it caught Forrest. And down goes Forrest.
5, 6,
Marty Denkin.
7, 8.
I think that was a correct call by Marty Denkin.
Forrest doesn't think so. Forrest thinks he was thrown down, apparently. Denkin made a motion with his hand behind his head as though Forrest had been hit behind the head, but then called it a knockdown.
It was the previous left hook that did the damage.
You're exactly right, George.
Let him swing wild. Stay right there. Don't go nowhere. You're backing up. Okay? Do not back up on this man. You understand? Look. Jab. Use the face. Right? When he swing that wild, get under. Go to the body. The body is open.
That was good. Don't get wild from outside. Come in close and short punches.
Got it, Rafael. You got the mouthpiece? Yes, sir. Rafael.
There's the left hand that hurt Forrest. That other left hand might have landed on the shoulder, but it was enough to make Forrest go down.
And it cost Forrest a round which he had won up to that moment. CompuBox numbers in the round: Forrest 15 out of 51, Mayorga 7 out of 48. But Mayorga gets the round because of the knockdown. Now Forrest comes back with his left hook, and Mayorga trades punches with him, and they're going to have a war. This is not the fight that Vernon Forrest wanted.
Stop. Break. Watch the head.
You heard Ronnie Shields saying, Vernon, don't back up. George, when you back up against a guy like Mayorga, what's the danger?
Well, you don't want to back up in any fight. You got to circle your guy. You circle him around and around and around. You back up, you can get caught. But if you circle backwards, it's a different thing.
Great uppercut by Forrest and the left hook. Mayorga comes back with a right of his own. They trade shots in the center of the ring.
I think that Forrest has demonstrated to this guy, look, you're tough, you're strong, but I got something too.
Well, I think you're right, George, that he wanted to come out in this round and let him know that knockdown at the end of the last round was not going to be the story of this fight. And that's what a real top fighter does.
You got to get back out there, and there's that right hand by Forrest.
Forrest has been told by Ronnie Shields to go straight at Mayorga and he'll have no problems. He needs to be aggressive behind the jab. Mayorga promised to go to the body and continues to try to do so, although obviously his biggest urge is to fire bombs upstairs. Another great uppercut by Forrest, and he landed a right hand. Mayorga says, come on, bring me more. Forrest begins to paint him with the jab. There was a good body shot by Forrest in there. And he takes another left hand, or Mayorga takes another left hand right on the chops. Big round for Vernon Forrest.
And an untold story about Vernon Forrest. He's got heart. He's intending to get some respect tonight. It may cost him a little bit, but he's not backing out.
Well, since Mosley wasn't able to do much with Forrest, we haven't really seen Vernon amid adversity. And that knockdown at the end of round 1 was enough to bring out the Tiger in the champion.
Good left hook by Mayorga.
Right uppercut by Forrest. Vernon seems to sense that if he can land one big shot, he can send Mayorga back south. Great left hook by Forrest. Mayorga just takes the combination and says, hit me more.
This is like a street fight in which one fighter has skills and the other fighter's just wading in, and the guy with skills is trying to figure out how do you fight this guy.
I want you to listen. Who the guy out of me and listen to me? You stay right there in the center with this guy. You understand? Look, pick him with the jab. Pick him with the jab. Go to the body. That's all. Forget trying to hit him in the head. You can break your damn head. Hit him on top of the head. You understand?
Hey, that black guy, he hits hard. When he hits you like that, make sure you do something in the jab.
Early in the round, Mayorga went at Forrest, and Forrest stood there and went right back at him. And later in the round, Forrest was in command. That uppercut may have been the punch that Mayorga was saying that, hey, this guy can fight and punch.
In round 2, by CompuBox numbers, Vernon Forrest landed 32 out of 79 punches, 22 of 44 power shots. Mayorga 18 of 71. So Vernon wins the second round to level the scales a little bit after a 10-8 round for Mayorga in the first. Hard right hand by Mayorga. And another hard right hand hurts Forrest. And Forrest throws Mayorga off of it.
Don't you spin it.
I think the warning was good for Forrest, who had taken a big right hand from Mayorga.
Boy, you sign those big contracts, and the last thing on your mind is that you got to fight for the money.
George's reference is this is the first fight of a 6-fight deal between Vernon Forrest and HBO. Mayorga's left blocked by Forrest's glove.
Now Mayorga is going to the body too. He's acting like the boxer, landing shots that ordinarily. Whoa!
What an uppercut!
Yeah.
Mayorga says, I've got an uppercut too.
Forrest has made a very good adjustment by trying to catch Mayorga as he comes in with his uppercut.
Another big right hand from Mayorga. Forrest is going to have to be brave in this fight. There's no other way against a guy like this. Body shot by Forrest. Right hand by Mayorga. Vernon counters with a right and busts him right in the chops. Big right hand by Mayorga.
Forrest put in a good left hook a moment ago, and that hurt.
Vernon wobbling on his feet as he threw the right hand. He goes down in the face of a crushing right cross.
And that time he was seriously hurt.
Yeah, look at the wobbling in Vernon Forrest. Marty Dinkins stops the fight. Marty Dinkins stopped the fight. And Ricardo Mayorga has done it.
Let's see Vernon Forrest come into the ring rapping the next time. He was celebrating his championship before he had a serious chance to defend it.
George Foreman.
But I told you, if he moves his head and throw those big shots, he's got a big chance of doing it. He did it tonight. Vernon Forrest just caught off balance. He did not expect that kind of fight.
And the key was that Mayorga was able to take some serious punches from Forrest and stayed in there long enough, and Forrest felt he had to fight him, So it was Mayorga who dictated how the fight was being fought.
You never fight a fighter, you box him. This guy, Vernon Forrest, started fighting the fighter. You don't do that. A puncher, you box him. That was the biggest
Forrest
mistake.
came out and started warring with him in round two.
Once he got that knockdown, once he was called for the knockdown, he just felt like he had to get in there and fight for his reputation.
At which point, George, you said, look at this, Forrest has great heart. In retrospect, too much heart?
Too much heart, amen. No better. I couldn't have said it any better. Too much heart. You got to have your skills and your trainer's advice. His trainer told him constantly, don't stand in the middle of the ring. Box, move around.
When you're the better boxer, box. I don't understand how in the world he couldn't have known what Mayorga wanted to do. He only fights one way. I mean, there isn't another wrinkle in Mayorga's game. That's what he does. And Vernon Forrest got himself caught.
I'll tell you one thing, that boy doesn't smoke cigarettes, as they say. He had energy galore.
Yeah. All right, let's take a look at the knockout and see how it happened. Here we go, George. He had landed a couple of big right crosses. There's another one.
All night long he's been doing that on the tip, but this time he got him right flush on the button.
Here's
flush on
look.
the button.
Through the left, missed
and look
the
at
left,
that knee.
That's
why the referee looked at it and said, look, maybe I'm going to stop this.
And he stood and waved his finger back and forth in front of Vernon's face, looking at Forrest's eyes to see if they followed. And hey, I think it's a good stoppage. Forrest's legs were gone.
He had almost broke his knee.
You keep going back in against a guy like this, you could get hurt.
No, you just got to box and move. That's your skill. You got the reach. Take advantage of it.
Mayorga closed the show, landing 16 of his last 32 power shots, including the series of brutal right hands that set that right hand shot up and produced an earthquake in the welterweight division, because he got yourself a new unified welterweight champion.
That's what happens on HBO all the time.
Indeed. Vernon Forrest's 6-fight contract just came and went.
Don't sign those contracts.
But it was a good entrance, as Larry said.
He'll be back. He's got the skill.
Oh, he's a good fighter. He's a terrific fighter with a great following. But this just goes to show you anything can happen in the sport.
He will be back.
So let's go to Michael Buffer now for the particulars on the shocking knockout as we look at Marty Denkin wave it off and say bye-bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Marty Denkin calls a halt to this contest at 2 minutes and 6 seconds of round number 3. The winner by knockout victory. He is now the unified WBA, WBC welterweight champion of the world, Ricardo El Matador Mayorga.
Final CompuBox numbers as flags from Nicaragua erupt in this arena. You see Mayorga landed 12 fewer punches. That didn't matter. He threw 11 more, and they were all haymakers. You're talking about a guy, as I said, the equivalent of a home run hitter who tries to hit the home run on every pitch. Power shots, story of the fight. They each landed 35. Mayorga threw more, but it was the vinegar in Mayorga's shots. It was the mustard in the right hand that left Forrest with a bitter taste in his mouth.
Also surprising for Vernon Forrest, as if he didn't know that this man could punch. That's what caught him by surprise. He thought, this doesn't hurt me. And once you get hurt, you lose your judgment for what's happening to you. That's what happened to Vernon Forrest tonight.
I'll tell you what, George, I never bet. But when I heard those 10-to-1 odds, I'm thinking, wow. All right, let's go to Larry Merchant in the ring with the winner.
Thank you, Jim. Congratulations, Ricardo.
Felicidades, Ricardo.
Between rounds, you said, this guy really hits hard. Did he hurt you in the second round?
Entre los rounds tú dijiste que este negro pega duro. Te dio duro, te pegó duro, te lastimó.
No, si estaba peleando como un payaso, como dije antes. No lo noqué en el primer asalto. No tengo bonito estilo, pero sí tengo una pegada increíble. No lo noqué porque mi esquina me mandó a que lo boxeara el primero.
He hit me, but I was fighting a clown. I didn't knock him out in the first round because my corner told me to take it easy, but I got him.
Did you expect him to try to box you more?
¿Tú esperabas que te boxeara más de lo que lo hizo?
Nunca pensé, cuando le pedí la pelea a Don, que se lo agradezco muchísimo a Don King, a Dios, por darme este en mi camino para mi carrera. La verdad, después de Dios, el Don ha sido una persona que ha ayudado muchísimo a mi vida y a mi familia. Para mí, Que viva Don King, que es el mejor promotor del mundo para mí.
I didn't think he was going to box as much, but I'm thankful, grateful to Don King for giving me the opportunity, the best promoter in the world. I thank God also.
Viva Don.
Do you feel that your power and relentless aggression can overcome anyone who has just skills?
¿Sientes tú que tu poder y tu agresión puede sobresalir ante cualquiera que tenga mucha destreza?
Yo no tengo bonito estilo. No tengo bonito estilo. Pero tengo el mejor promotor del mundo, a Don King. Y con mi fuerza, con mi mejor promotor y la fuerza que yo tengo, vamos a ser grandes.
I don't have a beautiful style, but I do have strength, and I have power, and the best promoter in the world.
Let's take a look at the knockout, and you describe it for us.
Vamos a ver el knockdown y tú no lo describes. Mira,
mamá.
Oye, mira el knockdown.
¡Ay, carajo!
Dinos algo.
Cuando sentí que le pegué a la derecha,
when I felt it, I hit him with the right hand.
Sabía que iba para abajo.
I knew he was going down.
Pero como lo quería sacar del ring, por eso le metí la izquierda abajo.
I wanted to get him out of the ring, so then I hit him with the left.
Bien, matador, bien, así se saca esa mano. Así, matador, bien. Este es el matador.
Yeah! ¡Viva Don King!
Why do you always show such contempt for your opponents?
¿Por qué tú muestras tanta algo que como que los oponentes no te importan y no valen nada?
Yo vengo de donde las mujeres paren hombres. Y el promotor que tengo, él siente mucha seguridad en mí. Por eso yo siempre digo, y tengo una foto de un gran estímulo en mi casa. Viva Don para mí.
Yeah. I come from where the women have men, give birth to men, and I have a great promoter.
All right, I just want to finish this with one gesture, Ricardo. Here's what you haven't smoked in a long while. You haven't smoked since you started training. This is your favorite cigarette. We toast you.
Te saludamos, Ricardo. Sé que no has fumado en varios meses. Dámelo ahora, dámelo.
Back to you, Jim.
Mayorga's cigarette is illegal in the state of California. So if you're watching, State Attorney General for California filed the charges against Larry Merchant for inciting to smoke. I guess there's something to be said for punchers, huh, George?
Yeah, when you can punch, throw all the odds out of the window. You've got it all made. And he believed in his punching power. He knew he wasn't the best and skillful fighter tonight, so he put it all on the line, and he cashed in.
Styles make fights. Forrest seemed to decide that it would be okay to brawl with this guy.
Bad. But the referee did it for him by calling it a knockdown early on, in which he didn't feel it was. He figured he had to prove himself, and that's when the corner has to realize, let me help my fighter fight, not try to tell him to do something else. And they shouldn't have told him to change boats in the middle of the stream. Just teach him how to fight in the gym. That's it.
Let's see what Vernon Forrest has to say about this shocking defeat. He's with Larry.
Thank you, Jim. Vernon, the knockdown in the first round, it wasn't a clear knockdown, but did that make you change your game plan against this guy?
First of all, I'd like to thank God for protecting me in this fight and protecting both fighters. It really wasn't a knockdown in the first round. They called it a knockdown, but you know, I wanted to fight this guy. I wanted to step up to the plate and show this guy that he can't muscle me, he can't bully me. But I got away from the game plan. I didn't think it was I didn't think the fight.
It wasn't, but you came out in the second round going at him in a way we seldom have seen you.
Yeah.
And was that to regain his respect?
Well, when you find a guy that's kind of wild and unpredictable, then you have to let it be known that you need some respect in the ring. And I went out there, to establish some respect and show him that, hey, you in there with a world-class fighter.
All right, you're a world-class fighter, a highly skilled fighter, and yet somehow you let him dictate how the fight would go. You were fighting his fight.
Well, a lot of times, you want to go out there and show different styles, different facets of your game. I can box, I can bang, I can do whatever it takes to win. It's just one of those situations where he caught me with a good shot. I got up. I didn't think the fight should have been stopped, but hey, I'm not the referee, I'm the fighter.
Was he too much to take after two big fights After all the celebrating of finally getting the recognition you had worked so hard and so long for?
No, I always want to fight the best fighters out there, the best possible opponent. He was the next best thing in my division, and I can't consider myself the undisputed champion if I can't clean out in my division. And that's what my intention is.
All right, let's take a look at what happened at the end, and you describe it for us, Vernon.
He hit me with a nice shot on the temple. But you know, I got right back up. Watch, I get right back up, and he started the fight. You know, I think he counted 2 or something like that. He started the fight.
You've been fighting a long time, 10 years as a pro since the '92 Olympics. You haven't lost since then. Is this a shock to you? Where do you go from here?
Oh, I go right back in there. I want definitely. You know, I got a contract with HBO that stipulates a rematch, and we'll go at it again.
Are you saying there is a rematch clause in the contract?
We gonna get it. We gonna do it again. We definitely do it again.
Thank you very much, Vernon. We appreciate your coming with us, Jim.